saying, hey, it's time for new Senate leadership, and I want you to carry that message. That's all you really have to say. This is not an ideological issue. Everyone from Hakeem Jeffries to union leaders to Nancy Pelosi to Seth Moulton to AOC to others in the Democratic Party have realized that Chuck Schumer is just not up to the task. Here he is last night on Chris Hayes, his second time on Chris Hayes in 5 days.
Yeah, and both interviews devastating and very well done by Hayes, I got to say.
Oh, I will also say, Chris Hayes is not on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So he was on Friday night and Tuesday night.
But this was for the book tour.
Chuck Schumer realizes that he is in trouble.
Yeah.
And he still cannot make a rational explanation for what he did. And Hayes, by the end of the interview, figures out what the problem is, at least in terms of, from Hayes' perspective and others. But here is how Schumer started off that interview. This is what he had to watch.
To a more of a tactical decision, because there was something that happened here that doesn't normally happen, which is they knew they needed Democratic votes and they cut you out entirely. Now, when that has happened before, Republicans have filibustered successfully and forced Democrats to the table. And so just purely at the level of how the tactics brought us to this point, I want to play some of the criticism, again, not from like backseat drivers or not from me on cable news, but people like Hakeem Jeffries or Nancy Pelosi. Take a listen.
Look, Chuck and I disagreed as it relates to the approach and outcome.
I think there is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. And this is not just about progressive Democrats. This is across the board, the entire party.
I still support Senator Schumer as leader, but I think the only way that we are going to be effective as a caucus is if we change our tactics.
I would have liked to see when Chuck Schumer had leverage here to say we need A, B, C, and D for the Democratic Party and force the Republicans to meet him halfway on those issues.
I myself don't give away anything for nothing. And I think that's what happened the other day.
They said, okay, he said leverage.
Okay, that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. Later in the interview, and we've gone through all his rationales of this, Hayes tries to get to like the nub here, because Schumer keeps arguing this is just like in 2017. And I would argue it is, it is a subjective analysis as to whether we are in a constitutional crisis, or we're on the verge of a constitutional crisis, or a constitutional crisis is inevitable. Certainly, we are watching what Elon Musk and Trump is doing right now is unconstitutional. And the courts are slowly catching up to it. However, and we'll talk about this in that continuing resolution that Schumer basically allowed to pass, it gives Trump a lot of leeway to continue to do what he's doing. But where we are on that trajectory in terms of democracy is subjective. But clearly Schumer cannot differentiate between 2017 and today.
But before we play, I just want to say that was prior to January 6th, prior to Project 2025. In Trump's first term, he had guys like Mattis or Tillerson at the start, or Reince Priebus at the start, more traditional Republicans.
He also didn't. He also won by less votes in the country.
Right.
He didn't have the popular vote.
Well, right. But I mean, part of what he's not understanding here is that Trump 2.0 is a much graver threat for the reasons that Democrats were saying prior to the election. But if you wanted to take his explanation at face value that the government shutdown, which is what he keeps arguing, would have created an even greater constitutional crisis, it still doesn't justify the lack of cohesion with the caucus, and this is where I think he's being disingenuous, and Hayes gets him on that.
Still, let's hope it stays.
Well, here's what I'm saying, is that all of those things you enumerated, which all sound like good politics to me.
Yeah.
Are the kinds of things that you'd be doing if Mitt Romney were president. That like there's this weird asymmetry right now, which is that they are acting in this totally new way,
Yes.
in which they are ambitiously trying to seize all power and create a presidential dictatorship in the United States
Yes.
of America, and the Democratic opposition is acting like, well, if we can get their approval rate down a few points, then what? Then what happens?
Well, what happens is, look, first we get it way down. He's going to have much less. This worked in 2017. You say it didn't. Now it's a different government.
It's different, though.
Oh, it is different.
My God.
But healthcare, we beat him. Taxes, we beat him. And guess what we did? Guess what we did, Chris?
Pause it.
Took back.
Pause it. Wait a second. Taxes, we beat him. What? Healthcare, you beat him because, yes, John McCain. There's nobody even remotely close to being John McCain. And we beat him by this much on healthcare. But taxes?
And on healthcare in this continuing resolution, in fact, you lost because the framework of this dirty
No,
CO
not on the continuing resolution, on the budget resolution.
I know. I'm just saying that this paves the way for tax cuts today on Medicaid, which is a separate healthcare conversation.
That's in the budget resolution for the next one, not the continuing resolution.
Okay.
The House and one in the Senate, and then we were allowed to do all those good things. This is not the only tactic. We have to stand strong in certain instances and not give them the votes at all. But there are instances with this, the two work together.
Okay. Again, I don't disagree with any of that, but the difference to me between 2017 and now, and I've been at this desk for both of them.
It's different.
It is a full-fledged assault on the constitutional order that has not been seen again.
Well, that's
certainly in my life.
That is true.
But the question then becomes.
But that's not the spending part.
That isn't. But then the question becomes, what is the role of the minority in resisting that? That's distinct from we're going to beat them on healthcare, we're going to beat them on spending Medicaid.
Look, if our democracy is at risk,
it is at risk. Yes.
Sorry, it is certainly at risk.
Well, do you believe it is?
But if
pause it for a second. Can we go back to that? Does that sound like a guy? Now, look, listen. I can understand people who say, well, that's hyperventilating. Our democracy is at risk. I happen to think it is. I don't think it's completely out of bounds to think it's not really, although I think you got to be a little bit blinkered to think that. But Schumer doesn't believe anything here because he is like, all he needs is the slightest bit of pushback from Hayes on that question. And he goes, oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, 180 degrees. Like, he is so off, he can't even, and I know this is aesthetics, but I don't understand why he cannot finish a sentence and look at Hayes while he's talking to him.
Well, he's uncomfortable, and he keeps trying to pivot back to Republicans, but he knew he messed up there. First, they immediately splashed the Chiron. This worked in 2017 on the bottom.
He doesn't see that.
But that was the second worst thing he said in 30 seconds, because to say, as the leader of the Democrats to an MSNBC audience, that he doesn't necessarily think that our democracy is currently under threat from a political matter, regardless of whether or not you think that we're already at that cliff. And I happen to think that we're very close to it. And almost every Democrat who votes thinks that. You can't say that on TV and remain leader of the Democrats. You just can't.
Go back a little bit and just catch that pirouette he does.
Well, it wasn't very graceful.
That's not the spending part.
That isn't. But then the question becomes, what is the role of the minority in resisting that? That's distinct from we're going to beat them on healthcare, we're going to beat them on spending Medicaid.
Look, if our democracy is at risk,
it is at risk. Yes.
Sorry, it is certainly at risk.
Well, do you believe it is?
But if
I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you believe it's a
Trump doesn't obey the Supreme Court, which may happen, you led up to it here, then we will have two courts. We will have the federal courts, which hopefully John Roberts will stand up and make it happen, but we'll have the court of public opinion. And if that happens, as you pointed out, we have had rule of law since the Magna Carta, okay? And if that happens and the rule of law goes by the wayside, I believe that there will be very, very there will be immediate and strong reaction from one end of the.
Okay, this is where it gets.
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? He can't even figure out what the reaction is going to be.
He catches himself because if that happens, he says, if he defies the Supreme Court, then our democracy is he says basically in serious peril, which I would say like we're at the precipice. Then the point is that the Democratic reaction may not be able to make a difference, you idiot. It's too late. So we're saying if the worst thing happens, then the public is going to vote them out and his approval rating is going to drop? No, they may change the rules to make it so that they're in power indefinitely.
It's fascinating, though, because, I mean, just go back and watch. He doesn't have... If you have thought this through and you are contemplating the notion, and look, everybody I know who follows this stuff, even like somewhat casually, the precipice is, do they ignore the courts? Today, a judge, a district court, Brobust, whatever his name is, who's talking about this El Salvador flight, gave them another 24 hours for the DOJ to come in, and the DOJ is arguing, we don't need to really provide you this information, and they're refusing to do it. They got one more day to do it. We're on the precipice of the administration deciding this. The idea that his strategy, and this is his strategy, runs into something he can't articulate. This is the culmination of where it's going. And look at how he stammers around. It's almost as if he hasn't like really thought this through. Like he is allergic to even believing it's possible, which maybe it's not, but it is really problematic that he hasn't even gamed it out. Go back a little bit, just watch how he stammers and can't even articulate what's supposed to happen next. This is the black box for him.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you believe it's a...
Trump doesn't obey the Supreme Court, which may happen, you led up to it here, then we will have two courts. We will have the federal courts, which hopefully John Roberts will stand up and make it happen, but we'll have the court of public opinion. And if that happens, as you pointed out, we have had rule of law since the Magna Carta. Okay?
Nobody knows what the Magna Carta is.
And if that happens, and the rule of law goes by the wayside, I believe that there will be very, very there will be immediate and strong reaction from one end of the country to the other.
We are aroused. We are aroused.
That's what will happen.
We are aroused. I mean, that's not a plan.
There will be immediate and strong reaction. So the next election cycle, that's his concern.
I mean, I'm sorry. Call your congresspeople. Call your senator. If they're a Democrat, tell them Chuck Schumer has had multiple occasions now to explain what his strategy is, and it's quite clear there is no strategy.
Yeah.
It is literally hope and prayers.
Can we play a little more? And Chris's final question to him, I just feel like really gets to the heart of it.
And it's not just up to us. The people will have to rise up. Not just Democrats, not just Republicans, not just, people, everybody. But our democracy will be at stake then. And
pause it again. I'm sorry. Does this guy not understand? What Republicans are you expecting to go out and protest?
Liz Cheney.
Honestly.
They're disappearing
this
protesters.
Guy is living in a completely alternate universe.
They're disappearing protesters for other issues, and Schumer has a measly answer to it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm glad we're going to have to really hit the streets and fight, do protests to stop this.
Exactly. He's on a book tour promoting, essentially, the disappearing of protesters.
Yep.
Stand up, and we join them. I believe we can try to beat that back. We can beat that back.
Try.
But it's on that one. If democracy is at risk, that's a little different than what we're talking about now. Even a shutdown, as horrible as it is, we'll all have to stand up and fight back in every way.
I think actually this is useful because I do think, just in a genuine sort of good faith way, that there's a lot of people, and I think I probably count myself among them, who think that that's where we are right now.
Well,
that the plan being deployed right now.
You may be right. I don't think so. We're there. I think
you think we're not there yet.
Well, I think we're getting there, and we have to be really vigilant. I just had a meeting today with the Judiciary Committee to decide how we're working through this as it goes further. It hasn't been up to the Supreme Court yet, which would be the classic if they disobey the Supreme Court. We're on our way there. God forbid, but I think we are, and we'll have to go at it and at it and at it.
We're going to add it.
Is different than anything else. different than anything else. It's a quantum leap different because our democracy is
Holy
then
fucking shit. Get this guy
248
out of
years
here.
of American democracy. The Magna Carta is out the window, and we will all have to take extraordinary action.
Occupy buildings?
We're going to go at it. Here's the other thing, again, and this is also fundamentally different. And Emma listed off a half a dozen things that are, like materially different from 2017. And we're seeing it. We see it in Wisconsin, where all of a sudden one dude drops $10 million into a race and makes it a 6-to-1 money advantage for the Republicans, and that is Elon Musk. And Elon Musk has vowed to fund the primary of anybody that Chuck Schumer is counting on to abandon the president. And this is, it seems to me, we can argue as to whether we're on the precipice or we're sort of far away from the precipice, and once it is, we're at it. That Chuck Schumer at least can argue that. But it is inarguable that we have never been in a situation where a primary challenge or any attempt by any member of this party to go against Donald Trump will be met with an unlimited amount of money to fund a primary challenge.
Yep.
That has never happened in the history of the country.
Yep. Chris nailed him there at the end when he said this is useful. Because you know what Chuck Schumer accidentally did there? And he couldn't weasel out of it. He admitted that he does not feel the urgency that the rest of the base does. And he does not genuinely think that our democracy is currently under threat. And even in the scenario where he talks about, he walks it back. Even if Trump defies the Supreme Court, he says, well, maybe, and then maybe people have to take to the streets. Either way, the answer is insufficient, but he compounded it. And he also showed there that this wasn't about what he's arguing, about how the government shutdown would have created an even greater constitutional crisis. Maybe he got himself to convince himself of that, but it's because he's constitutionally incapable of meeting this moment. He's a lawyer, right? He's as you would call him, a concierge. He wants to maintain our government and make sure it functions or whatever, and he values his deal-making and negotiations with the Republicans over doing politics. And there's a class of Democrats, and they really are, a lot of them are lawyers and professionals, who have a contempt for the doing of politics. They believe that the American public is kind of dumb, right? And that they just have to go through this, and that eventually Democratic ideas will win the day because they have the better argument. And that's why he keeps kind of pivoting to the midterms. But all the most destructive stuff they're going to be able to do is prior to that. And that's why there's urgency right now. So they have contempt for the idea of standing for something and doing politics as opposed to the negotiation. Do contract law or something. Join a law firm if this is what you actually are interested in doing, as opposed to using the bully pulpit to stand up to the greatest threat to our democracy that perhaps we've seen in, I don't know, your lifetime or double your lifetime.
Will I get still the free parking?
Yeah.
If I join a law firm, will I get the free parking?
But he would be a great... Join a law firm. Do it.
What about
Negotiate a
my book
merger.
sales?
This is what he's suited for.
I've got a book tour.
Yeah.
We will win. We will win.
We will win greater returns for the parent company.
We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest. We won't rest.
Oh my God.
I love when they realize even their blather about like we need to fight them at every step, like things that are usually pretty easy to say don't make sense even for the moment. Like
We're gonna go at it.
Every chance we get. Except
we're
this
gonna
chance.
go at it.
now.
It's gonna be a rumble.
I fight them every day except that day.
Almost
Not
every
today.
day. Look, Chris, I had a book tour. It's been ruined. I am sacrificing. Absolutely. The book is upside down.
Oh my God, yes. People, apparently it wasn't clipped, but Schumer got mad at the start of the interview. Very testy he is right now.
The book is upside down.
Because Hayes was
upside down.
Hayes was holding the book upside down, I guess like this, but they had, and Chris responded, we're cutting to a graphic of the book, so it didn't matter, but it already started. I mean, Schumer's feeling the heat.
Comrade Hayes there, dig in.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's right. It's like the American flag when it's upside down is a signal for distress.
Schumer's book
upside down, signal for distress. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Capturing this objective.
Lie down.
See you locked down.
I'm rolling now.
So I've been like thinking, because I didn't know about the H3 podcast and shit. Well, the only thing I'd ever seen about the H3 podcast was Ethan Klein saying that women are to be conquered, implying that like it's natural for men to rape women, which was interesting. And aside from that, I knew nothing about it until this whole Palestine-Israel thing. So everything that I've seen of the podcast, it's like they cover like Justin Bieber relationship paparazzi shit for like 5 minutes, and then the rest of the podcast is Ethan Klein like pointing to people who he wants his audience to harass and doxing random people. Literally nothing but that. It's like a interactive, organized mass harassment / doxing experience and nothing else. Like he dedicated his entire last episode to telling people to go and harass Matt Lieb, who is a member of a show that I control called Good Mythical Morning, and like trying to get him fired, which isn't going to work because I own the show, Ethan. His entire episode, apart this, you know, regardless of the title, it was like half of it at least was dedicated to telling his fans to go and harass Matt Lieb and the owners of Good Mythical Morning to get him fired from the show. They had this random Ukrainian crew member who they hired just so that they could have a token Ukrainian to say bad things about Hassan, do like a 15-minute long segment talking to Hassan Piker. Then Ethan watched a clip, and I'm going to show this, of one of his fans tracking down the Twitch CEO, Dan Clancy, in real life and harassing him on Ethan's incitement, one step away from like an actual physical attack happening at his incitement. And Ethan Klein watched this clip as if it was something positive. Like this is something commendable, rather than him literally doxing people on his podcast. Like if anyone else was doing what he was doing, they would be banned from YouTube already. But you know, he still has a little bit of good grace, clearly, with like the YouTube staff. So they're clearly holding him to a different standard. So they're just letting him do this shit, even though it's like literally like this person was right behind the fucking guy, behind him, tracked him down in real life, got behind him into a position where if she wanted to, she could have killed him. She could have attacked him. This is the sort of thing that Ethan Klein has been attempting to incite this whole fucking time by running a podcast that cannot be described, because they don't do anything else, basically. It's a bit of celebrity gossip in order to pretend their podcast has a point, and then pointing out people for his fans to harass. And this is the result. And he praises this behavior.
All right.
He praises it, which will result in more of it.
All right. First of all, I don't know where this was taken, but someone was next to Dan Clancy at some kind of event and did some journalism on him. They journalized his ass.
Journalized?
I want to say this person who approached him publicly was very professional, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She asked him direct questions. He answered, and then when he answered, she said, "Thanks for your time," and walked away. I do not want people harassing anyone in public, right? Like,
that's what this fucking was. Someone harassing him on your incitement and then posting a video of it for your approval, which you then give them. This is literally like organized real life harassment at this point.
He's the CEO of a company. He's a public figure. He should be accountable for things that his business is doing. But this person did not harass him, in my opinion, and I don't think people should harass Dan Clancy.
Your entire show is organized harassment, organized interactive harassment.
Oh, Clancy.
Dan Swerdlove's another story.
Hey Dan, do you have any comment on
on why you won't let Ethan Klein stream on your platform?
He is
The
streaming on
Hissong
the
content nuke?
He is.
Why he got banned twice?
It got reversed.
It got reversed, but it was like it was not an automatic ban. Do you have any comment on that?
No comment.
No comment? All right, good to know. Appreciate it.
Dude, I feel so uncomfortable. The fact that he responded so fucking fast.
He really knew.
He was like, boom.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even have time to like feign like, oh, yeah, I'll have to look into that. I don't know.
What do you mean I didn't even have time? Like, he's approving of this behavior. Then he has like, what is this? It's like a 40-minute long segment trying to incite like Matt Lieb getting fired. And he's done way worse than that. Like, he's gone after random fucking people live on his stream, like, who just leave mean comments on his Instagram. Not even like comments that could warrant it, like, you know, a death threat or like actual like racial slurs or some shit like that. What the guy did that caused him to dox them and their family, which resulted in H3H3's fans, obviously exactly as Ethan wanted, harassing the guy and sending death threats to his minor sister, his child sister, and his mother. So here's where I covered this 2 weeks ago now. This is like every podcast for him is like Ethan either points to creators who he thinks his fans should harass, or he like points to like random people, totally random people, and he tries to incite harassment on them.
Men are being obsessed with you guys when you only had 15K subs. Glad that's behind me. Enjoy hell. This guy's for real. Joe Coop. Look this guy up. Enjoy hell.
He commands his fans, look this guy up. Here's his real name. Look this guy up. Then he goes to his Instagram. What did he say? I used to be obsessed with you guys, and I'm glad that's behind me. You're going to hell. Go to hell. I mean, okay, great. Nothing wrong with that. You know, he's insulting you and saying go to hell, something that people commonly fucking say to people they don't like. Nothing even remotely worthy of like doxing or like, you know, singling him out for harassment. But what Ethan does immediately is say, Joe Coop, look him up.
Anyone, let's see if I know.
This is Taylor Klein.
It's behind me. Enjoy.
It's on his Instagram, on his fucking podcast. Like, what the fuck kind of podcast is this that you would do this on it? What the fuck?
Hell, Joe Coop said. Let's start David. Here he is. If anyone, let's see if I know. Can I identify?
Let's see if I can identify him. Like, it's the same shit I said in the moment. I'm just repeating myself, as you can see. Because it's so fucking obvious what he's doing here. Just fucking said that. If I did this, I would be permanently banned, no questions asked. And Ethan does this like it's nothing. And then he starts scrolling through his Instagram saying, let's see if I can find his family members. Let's see if I can find out where he lives.
Oh shit, that weenie truck he's in front of, that's in Dearborn.
And then fucking capo, AB, I don't know, what's his name, Abdul? I'm gonna go with Abdul. What the fuck else could AB mean? AB Ayad, Abdul Ayad. I'm gonna guess that's what his name is. This fucking capo who's paid to enable this shit is like, oh yeah, I know where that is. He lives in Dearborn. That's where he lives. If you want to find this guy, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that's where he lives. As Ethan Klein brings up like pictures of this guy's house and his family, he's like, oh yeah, I know where that is. Just in case you guys want to track him down and find him.
Yeah, I thought I tried. That's what he used to in like the 60s.
Look, he just brings up his mother.
Unless there's multiple.
What's my deal? Let's see.
Finds a picture of his family. When I was like in my last stream talking about Ethan, I was like, I don't understand the appeal of this podcast. What the fuck is it for? And it's hemorrhaging viewers clearly, but the ones who remain are there because they like the doxing, they like the harassment. They like participating in like interactive harassment campaigns at this guy's command. That's really the only reason for it. It's all about this. Like, they don't even really cover drama. It's like a doxing and harassment podcast, which like occasionally includes like maybe an hour out of like 3 hours talking about like Justin Bieber or some shit to give them an excuse for the other 2 hours, which is just them trying to direct harassment at people they don't like. They do this with everyone, like whether it's a creator or like a random person, and Ethan uses Instagram stories to do this even more. It's like a truly 24/7 interactive doxing and group harassment experience. And Ethan tries to claim that it's not doxing because, you know, they have a public Instagram account or something. But that's what doxing really is, at least legally. It can be two things, like colloquially, which is releasing private information that is not public and the person has never made public intentionally at all. Or it can be like sharing someone's personal information, even if it's public, for the purpose of spurring harassment against them. And that is how it is defined in California law. When you dox specifically for the purpose of inciting harassment against someone, you share even public information, like someone's real name, their family members and stuff like that, and you say, look at this guy, go harass him. Or like what Ethan said there, like, look at him, look into him. Let's see if I can identify him. That's when it often becomes illegal. And that's what he did. It's very clearly illegal. Like, his entire podcast is just this, complaining about either creators who he wants people to harass and try to mass report, because all that he can do now is mass report because he's so insane that he's lost whatever clout he used to have with the actual, like, employees of the platforms. So he can't just point at people and get them banned anymore like he's used to. So he just does mass reporting and, like, organized harassment. Or, like, if it's not a creator, he, like, doxes and their family members and tells you to like, go and contact them, and like, their mother and their fucking underage relatives start getting random messages from his fans. I've received, like, horrible death threats that I went over in my last stream about Ethan, that I'm not going to put here because that video almost got taken down by YouTube for including what those people said to me. I had to, like, appeal it, and it remained up. I don't want to risk it again. But, like, I have received probably at least 3 to 4 dozen very, like, descriptive death threats from Ethan Klein fans, often under their real name. A lot of the people who send these seem to be like, they look like their children, which is, I guess, gives you an idea of the sort of audience that Ethan Klein has. So yeah, I mean, that's what his podcast is really dedicated to. Recently, he doxed another random guy who, like, just a guy who left a chat message, like, laughing at him in, like, the poker live stream chat, which he was apparently reading like a hawk. Here is some fantastic Instagram stories of Ethan Klein doxing a random guy. A guy joking, saying, I called CPS on you, I'm right here. Ethan Klein watching a live chat of this event that he was supposedly participating in like a fucking hawk. Screenshots that, and guess what happened? Guess what he does? He tracks down the guy's Facebook, connects it to his YouTube username, and posts it publicly to direct his fans to, like, attack this guy in real life. This is Ethan Klein. This is the entire point of his podcast. Literally posts the guy's Facebook account. This guy is 59 years old with 8 children, and he's still doing this shit. What else is there to say? His podcast is just an organized doxing and harassment, which clearly is not as good. You know, it's not as appealing to people as his whatever they did before he started doing this was, given that he's hemorrhaging viewers, less subs every time, less viewers every time. The ones who remain are there because they are like new viewers who have joined because they like this sort of thing. They love, like, interactive doxing and harassments. They just want, like, the guy to tell them who to dox and harass next. Or it's like super fans, like absolute obsessives, who became enamored with them beforehand and who are just going to be there until the end of the day and forever. And they will do whatever he wants because for some reason, like, this weird parasocial shit that they have going on worked on them. And now they just in there forever. They're lifers. What a weird thing to be obsessed with. Anyway, that's what the H3 podcast is. The H3 podcast is the doxing and harassment podcast. It's just Ethan Klein pointing at people and telling his fans to harass them, like, to write emails to their fucking congressman or whatever. Like, it's just endless fucking targeting of people who have criticized him or, like, joked about him or insulted him or said anything that doesn't like. Telling his fans, go and harass this person, or telling his fans, like, and, you know, obviously his fans go and do it, or telling them, like, go and get this person deplatformed, go and get them fired. And the fact that this is on YouTube, he's just doing it openly on YouTube, like, what the fuck is going on here? And honestly, obviously he's being given special treatment. But if I was doing this sort of thing, if I did this sort of thing even once, I would get banned instantly. Not that I would want to do it, because what the fuck kind of content is that? Like, you just fucking direct harassment at people all the time. You're not even critiquing them, not even responding to them, just telling your audience that they're bad and directing them to attack the person. Like, it's one thing if you talk about someone and you criticize what they have said, and this spurs harassment to them. But Ethan Klein doesn't do that. Ethan Klein outright tells his fans to harass people in no uncertain terms. He outright tells his fans to help him dox them. He does dox them, and he does it for no purpose aside from driving harassment towards them. And it needs to be actioned by YouTube, obviously. This podcast is dedicated to doxing, harassment, and nothing else. And it's fucking insane that it just gets by. Like, what the hell is going on?
I bet people have died.
I bet it's under 10.
How many?
10 a year.
3 to 10 a year.
Oh, yeah. No, hold on.
That's just a stupid fucking thing to say. You know how many people definitely don't die on Mount Kilimanjaro that don't go to Mount Kilimanjaro? 100% of them.
100% of all.
100% of the people that don't go up that fucking stupid mountain. Just get a fucking Oculus and watch that shit. You know, just watch it. Watch it in your head. You can get videos of it.
I can't believe they still let people ride motorcycles. Because people die all the time.
Okay, hang on. Bert's daughter's putting parental controls on his Instagram is the most Bert Crusher thing I've ever heard. And what did his dog do to his wife? Oh, no, it was a squirrel. My bad. But all jokes aside, Bert, if you're watching this, you should totally start a GoFundMe to send you to Mount Kilimanjaro. Bro, I'll definitely donate to that. Go all the way to the top. Don't stop. We believe in you. And when you get back, you should get a motorbike and a new wheelbarrow. What are we doing here, B? Oh, by the way, did you guys know that Bert could read acrylic? True story.
Look at that writing. How cool is the writing? Go back to that. Look at the fucking writing at the bottom. Look how cool that is. Can you read that?
Yeah. It's really. I think it's Russian. It's acrylic or whatever it is. Cyrillic.
You can read that?
Yeah.
For real? You can read Russian?
Yeah. I never told you about the time I was Russian.
You did, but I didn't know you could learn. I didn't know you learned how to read it. I thought it was really hard to read.
I just met this DJ, very big DJ Zed. I was with Santino. We were at a tennis tournament. And I said, wait, where's your accent from? And he goes, oh, I'm Russian. I said, Gdzie. And he goes, Ty говоришь по-русски язык? I was like, конечно. And we started talking in Russian back and forth.
How long did it take you to learn that?
As long as I was there. I got pretty good towards the end.
How long were you there for?
A month and a half, 3 months.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
2 months,
Do you have a hidden skill?
No,
a hidden ability to, like, learn languages?
No, I know. I can speak Spanish.
How'd you learn how to speak Spanish?
I just growing up in Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
I took Italian in college. I can't speak Italian.
Yeah.
I took Spanish in high school. I can't speak Spanish.
No, I can understand Russian a lot better than I can speak it.
Yeah, you might have like a hidden ability to learn languages.
And I can understand Spanish a lot better than I can speak it. But like I was just in Spain. I was just in Spain a week ago, and apparently my Spanish, it sounds like me need ice. Me ice.
At least you can say something.
Yeah.
You can communicate.
Okay, what in the actual fuck? Just when you thought the machine story was done and dusted, Bert reckons he can speak Russian because he went there for a couple of months 30 years ago. Talk about a useless idiot. And is that a thing if you live in Florida and you just casually pick up Spanish? Tom 100% needs to try and have a conversation in Spanish with Bert on the next 2 Bears 1 Cave. That's the kind of shit we want to see. Finally, Tom will be able to say everything he truly feels about Bert out loud without hurting his feelings. But we couldn't get through an episode of JRE without getting the full Dunning-Kruger experience. This next clip has so much green room energy, I'm honestly surprised they left it in. Throw a wig on Rogan and we've got the next Dumb and Dumber reboot.
How much better do you think anabolic steroids are than testosterone?
For as far as like putting weight on, and
like, I mean, is it so much more noticeable?
Oh yeah, it's completely cheap.
Have you ever done an anabolic steroid?
Nothing serious. I've never done anything serious. I tried Anabar once, and I've done like some minor stuff.
Like I joked that Tom's on Ozempic all the time. I think he is, but whatever.
Do you think he is?
Oh yeah.
Really?
When have you ever known Tom to put in the hard work to lose the weight?
But he's been really disciplined.
Or is he going?
You
Anyway,
really think so?
no, I'm joking.
No,
I'm fucking around a little bit.
But not really.
Not really.
You
Not
might
really.
think he would do it, not tell you.
I don't know.
Really?
His wife was on it. She got sick on it.
So did Brian Simpson. Brian Simpson got real sick.
So did Bobby Lee.
Yeah, folks, just carnivore diet. Just
carnivore diet.
Eat meat and eggs, and you'll lose weight. I guarantee you.
Oh man, I was waiting for Jamie to jump in and tell them both that testosterone is in fact an anabolic steroid. I'm honestly surprised that Rogan didn't know that, given how quick he is to dish out vitamin and supplement advice to all his guests. That is so typical of these guys though, not realizing that they're dosing anabolic steroids by taking high doses of test, which they've all openly admitted to. And I'm not talking about TRT, that's what Bert thinks he's doing, but he accidentally blurted out on Theo Von's podcast that he's jacked up on test and taking big doses, which for someone with such an unhealthy lifestyle like Bert can actually be really dangerous. And of all the people to be calling Tom Segura out for taking shortcuts to better health, Bert's over here throwing him under the bus for taking Ozempic, even when Tom's admitted several times to only doing it for a couple of weeks before he got sick and had to stop. Meanwhile, Bert has a trainer coming out to his house every day to train him, has a nurse come out to his house twice a week to give him a vitamin IV, and then eats and drinks like a pig every other day. For someone who takes his health so seriously, he really is walking a fine line.
If I put those nose strips on, because I can breathe through my nose if I have
You should get your nose operated on.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a
It's
hernia.
not that
I'm not
big
going
a
to
deal.
get done.
You should get that done too.
No.
Yeah, you should.
It's the worst.
Your guts are going to poke out of your stomach. That's what it is.
They already do, Joe.
That's gross. No, I mean, your guts, not
No,
fat.
they do, Joe.
Do they poke out right now? Ew, let me see.
No.
Show me.
I'll show you for real, and you'll see it.
Okay. I'm watching Bert do a sit-up, ladies and gentlemen.
See this?
Oh, that's scary, dude. That's a rip in the center of your stomach?
I remember when it happened.
Oh, dude, how long ago?
Probably 12 years ago. 2 weeks later, I'm laying in bed with my wife, and I kind of lean up and I see it, and I go, oh, what's this? Some dudes get it when they just gain a lot of weight. That's another way to get it. But like, I've never been that fat. But Tommy, I think Tommy might have had one. My problem is I'd get it fixed, but then I'm afraid of the aftermath of the surgery of 13 weeks of recovery of me not working out. I'm gonna go f***ing haywire.
You don't have to go haywire. That's nonsense. You should get it fixed. You should get it fixed and get your nose fixed too. Just get it fixed. Just bite the bullet. Don't live with a compromised body. They know how to fix those things. Breathe out of your nose, you change your f***ing life. I couldn't do yoga class. The instructor, he would get mad at me. He'd like, you have to breathe out of your nose. I'm like, I don't have a nose. It doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. My nose, I had like 1/4 of one nostril. That was the only thing that was open.
For real?
Yeah, my right side was
So it wasn't just
completely
deviant.
Finally, we have confirmation that Joe and Bert are mouth breathers. But seriously though, Bert should totally get that shit checked out. I feel like every week we learn something new about him. As for Rogan and Sober October, I hope he brings it back this year and they can all find a way to coexist in the same room for a few hours. Those are the best episodes in a podcast that has been falling off hard over the last few months. Ever since the election, the ratings have been going backwards, and even though he's recovered back to the top spot in podcasting this month, his numbers are still way down compared to what they used to be. And don't forget, Bert's comedy special is out now. I'll be doing a detailed review over on Patreon, so make sure you check out the link in the description and become a member so you don't miss out. There's a bunch of other uncensored, longer form content on there, and it's a great way to support the channel. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
I remember people saying, because I knew you as Joe the stand-up, and I remember people saying, he does comedy?
I am getting so much abuse out there. Yeah. From people on the right, and nobody on the right stands up. I'm just like, wow, you guys are a bunch of cowards. You can't even stand up for your friends who you fought shoulder to shoulder with.
Are your feelings, let's say, moderated by the fact that so many tech bros are now involved in this? Because these are not, say...
They're not tech bros. They were my friends.
Well, okay. So, but that's what I mean. So you know a lot of these.
Yeah,
but they just changed.
It was crazy how many of them have just changed. I didn't know how shallow this was.
All right, so it looks like Eric Weinstein is having a tough time once again. This guy is always going through something. He loves to whine. I mean, it's literally in his name, so I guess we shouldn't be that surprised. But now his problem is people are being too mean to him on Twitter, and none of his friends will stick up for him. And he also feels like he's been left behind by Trump and his supporters. Like, he's all disappointed that Trump never reaches out to him to ask him for help with his administration. Like, Eric thinks he deserves to be part of Trump's team because he's been fighting woke culture longer than everybody else. That's how far up his own ass this guy is. Like, on this Dave Rubin podcast, Eric keeps talking about how he's been fighting a war for decades, and he feels like he's being disrespected now because all these tech guys who jumped on the Trump train at the last second are getting more attention than him.
That I just sat through a bunch of years being asked to kiss the woke ring and to bend the knee to the woke and all this kind of nonsense. I've been fighting this war at some levels since the late 80s, you know? So it's like 35 years. Because quite honestly, I was on this train a long time before Trump ever boarded. And this idea that a bunch of, you know, in particular, like the tech right, they just jumped on this thing 4 seconds ago, and now they're acting like, you know, they've been here the whole time. It's incredibly disrespectful. I'll be entirely honest. One of the most off-putting things I ever heard in my life is that when you look at people who've been fighting the war longer than you are, and then you say, well, you know, you didn't endorse. I mean, did you ever call? Did anyone ever call? Never. Not a single phone call. Nobody cared about my endorsement. My endorsement mattered. Like when they called Bobby. Bobby said, I have things that I want. I had things that I wanted to know. What are you going to do about university? What are you going to do about science?
Yeah, so he's definitely bitter about all these people who got positions from Trump while he's being left out. It's so funny. Like, Eric thought he was part of Trump's team and they'd be consulting with him, but they really want nothing to do with him. And you can tell he's getting frustrated about it leading up to the election because he kept complaining about it on Twitter. Like he said, I'm failing this election. I tried, but I simply failed. I cannot work within these concepts. My world, my country, my America is not on the ballot. And of course, everybody in the comments was roasting him. Even Dave Rubin's like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but how are you not voting for Trump? And then after the election, Eric posted another tweet where he said, for whatever reason, the campaign doesn't reach out much. I don't know why, but this is an observation, so I don't want to take crap for observing it. And again, people in the comments and some of his friends, I'm sure, were like, dude.
So I think it's pretty clear by now that you should expect nothing from Ethan Klein, and it's mind-boggling that he continues to claim that he is pro-Palestinian. And it's even more mind-boggling given what he said on another idiotic podcast that he was a couple of days ago. So Ethan Klein loves to claim that he is not a Zionist, and also that he's pro-Palestine, in spite of, you know, all the evidence showing that he very much isn't. You know, it's generally not normal for someone who's pro-Palestine to spend literally all of their time just attacking anyone who is pro-Palestine and who opposes literally every single pro-Palestinian action ever, basically. He outright said that he wants to go to Israel and, like, I guess make content to prove to everyone that there's no apartheid there. You know, it's actually a really nice country. Everything there is great. All in the wake of Israel doing an outright genocide in Gaza. Like, he didn't seem to care about Israel that much before. If anything, he sort of shit on it before October 7th. Like, you know, he'd moved there and he didn't really like it that much. That's obviously why he ended up moving back to the USA. But now he feels like this special connection with Israel. He wants to start selling it to people as like this awesome place. So let me show you another excellent pro-Palestinian action by Ethan Klein.
We're planning to go to Israel in June with my parents and all the kids. It's going to be such a great trip. And I'm actually really excited to go there. I want to show you guys.
You haven't been there in so long.
It's been a long fucking time. What I want to do is show you guys how I see Israel, because you don't see that. When you listen to Hassan and you hear all these fucking like mega lefties talking about it, like it's some super racist, like, crazy, you know, like Jim Crow style of society. Like, I can't wait to show you guys how beautiful, how multicultural, how like free it feels for people, or just it's a beautiful place. It is. It's one of the most diverse places I've ever been.
So that right there is Ethan Klein outright saying that he's going to Israel in order to make like pro-Israel puff piece content to try and sell to people as like this awesome, beautiful place where everything is actually really nice. And there's, as he outright said, that, you know, there's nothing Jim Crow, there's no segregation, there's no apartheid, there's nothing bad at all, actually. And this is all in the wake of the fucking Gaza genocide. Like, Ethan Klein is so pro-Palestinian that he wants to reward Israel for doing genocide. He doesn't think that you should boycott it. He wants to go there, do tourism, and film videos about how great and awesome Israel is in reaction to that. That's probably the most pro-Palestinian thing I've ever seen in my life. Wow, great job, dude. And just to say something that I've said many times before. Obviously, Israel is fucking great for someone like Ethan Klein, this American who moved there, got automatic citizenship just for an accident of his birth, just because he happens to be Jewish. Obviously, how he sees Israel is going to be great. I mean, he's like a member of the ethnic majority of like the group to this ethno-state. That's what Israel is, like an ethno-state that gives racial privileges to Jews. He's a member of that majority. Obviously, Israel should be great for him. But you know who it's not great for? The millions of Palestinians who these privileges exist at the cost of. Like, this guy is straight up like a white guy in the American South in 1940 telling you how I don't understand this stuff about segregation and the racism and stuff. You know, the Southern US is actually pretty fucking great. You guys just aren't seeing it how I'm seeing it. It's really nice here. It's a beautiful country, such nice people. It's so diverse too. Like, look, forget about the black people out of frame. We get migrants here from all over the place. You know, we got Norwegians, we got the Irish, we got the Italians. It's such a great place to me. And if you only listen to those goddamn idiot anti-racist leftists, as they call themselves, you would think it was like this horrible place of apartheid and Jim Crow and segregation. But I want you to see it how I see it. It is the exact same fucking thing. Ethan Klein is like this rich white Jewish guy who voluntarily chose to move to Israel to receive privileges at the cost of Palestinians, to live on land stolen from Palestinians. And now he wants to go back to Israel in the wake of it doing an outright genocide. And he wants to do like public relations puff pieces on its behalf to disprove everyone who tells you that Israel, you know, which just did genocide, by the way, I have to keep reiterating that, to show you that in spite of all the bad things that everyone says about Israel, you know, this genocidal left no state that exists at the cost of one group of people for the benefit of another group of people, he wants to show you all how great and awesome that country actually is. I can already tell you precisely how this is going to go down. He's going to go there and he's going to try to find like one or two Palestinian citizens of Israel who are willing to like take money, or perhaps like Yosef Haddad or one of those famous propagandist collaborator guys. He's going to go and talk to them and he's going to be like, hey man, let's go around together and prove to everyone how in Israel there's actually no segregation and no apartheid because you, a Palestinian or an Arab, also live here. It's nothing like those fucking lefty crazies say. It's just so predictable. He's gonna like go around and be like looking at the landscape and stuff and go like, wow, this place is so beautiful. Take a look at these beautiful olive trees. Ignore the fact that we burn those of the Palestinians. Ultimately, Ethan Klein is not only a dumbass, but an exceptionally callous one. What he's doing here is no different to someone with like German ancestry going to Germany in like 1935 to write like a gushing journalistic article about how awesome Germany is and how you shouldn't listen to what they say about what Germany is doing to the Jews and how it's actually really beautiful and the people there are so nice and things are going so well for them under the new Führer. We need to look at this as precisely what it is. This is someone who wants to do genocide propaganda. It's someone who wants to do colonial propaganda. It's someone who wants to whitewash apartheid, who wants to whitewash oppression, who wants to whitewash this colonial ethno state that exists for the benefit of people like him at the expense of millions of other people. It's so fucking insane too that he claims to be pro-Palestine. And I get comments to this day from absolute morons saying that he's pro-Palestine because he said Netanyahu is bad and he donated $6,000 to a charity once. And then here he is, right fucking here, being like, you know, I'm going to break the boycott of Israel. I'm going to go do tourism there. Not only that, but I'm going to film like a propaganda piece about how awesome Israel is for me and mine. Never mind the fact that the whole problem that people have with Israel has nothing to do with people saying that it's bad for Jews like me. That Israel is good for you, that is, you find it beautiful and awesome all of a sudden, though. Again, that contradicts what he has said in the past about how much he hated living there. Doesn't say shit about the reason why people hate Israel. The reason why people hate Israel is because millions of people need to be dispossessed, oppressed, and massacred for it to be so great for people like you. I mean, just look at what Ethan Klein actually said when he was living in Israel. And just to be clear for the YouTube censors, what I'm about to show you is hate speech, and I denounce it entirely. I'm showing it for documentary purposes, and I completely disavow every single thing that Ethan Klein says in this clip.
And it's the home of the Jew. Not just as Jew like, you know, me or Ela, but this is home of the super Jew. The Jews, you know, the dirty, grimy, jacket-wearing Jews. Real dirty ass. Nasty. You know what I mean? It's like who can look more Jewish? Boom. It's like it doesn't matter.
So does that sound like someone to you who loved Israel and thought it was a beautiful place with lots of beautiful people and no segregation and nothing bad? Or does it sound like someone who looked out the window in Israel and hated everything they saw in the most vile way possible, in fact? Because to me it sounds like the latter. But now Ethan Klein has rediscovered his previously non-existent love for Israel only after Israel has done genocide and presently is attacking the West Bank with tanks. They have ethnically cleansed 3 refugee camps in the West Bank in the last week or so. And Ethan Klein's reaction to the Gaza genocide, to the complete destruction of Gaza, to the ongoing Israeli attacks on the West Bank is to be like, you know, Israel's actually not bad at all. Israel's actually a really good country, and these goddamn crazy lefty fucks who tell you it's apartheid. You know what? I'm going to go there and I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to show you that Israel is actually really awesome. The only thing that changed from even in that clip to even now is that he saw Israel doing out-and-out open genocide, and he liked what he saw, and his opinion on Israel has changed to be more positive now. That really is the only way to interpret this. Now he wants to go and do a propaganda pro-Israel puff piece. What more is there to say about this? Anyone who says that this guy is pro-Palestinian, honestly, don't even know what to say to those fucking people. Like, how do you convince someone who just lives in an alternate reality like that? How do you convince someone who believes that post-genocide, it's acceptable to go to Israel? How do you justify the unjustifiable? What do you do when you are completely committed to defending a state, no matter what it does, when what it's doing makes doing that increasingly difficult, and when trying to do so will invariably make you come off as more than a little bit ridiculous, as well as a Goebbels tier genocide propagandist? It turns out that self-assigned job is really quite difficult. And I'm going to go over some examples here that show just how hard of a task these brave pro-genocide propagandists have committed themselves to in their fanatical, never-ending quest to justify, downplay, apologize for, or deny anything they think they possibly can regarding the ongoing Gaza genocide. This video was made possible thanks to my supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi. If you like it and you'd like to see more like it, consider heading over there and supporting me yourself. This is Israel's self-appointed lawyer, the YouTuber Lonerbox. He has taken it upon himself to do every possible thing that he can to defend Israel's Gaza genocide. You're about to see him attempt his best defense of the revelation from a New York Times investigation that Israeli soldiers have intentionally been massacring children in droves via single, precise shots to the head. Multiple doctors and nurses who spent time serving in Gaza hospitals during the genocide attested to the fact that between them, they had seen many dozens, upwards of 100 in total, cases of children shot in the head. And they provided the New York Times with x-rays that show these injuries, as well as photographic evidence, which the Times considered too graphic to publish, of these children's gunshot wounds to the head. The evidence that this is a systemic practice of the Israeli military in Gaza is quite overwhelming. So how does a pro-genocide propagandist deal with this? Let's take a look. Here is the reaction of Israel's lawyer to seeing political commentator Mehdi Hassan bring this up in a debate.
3 American doctors went to Gaza. Dr. Fayaz Sidra, Dr. Irfan Galaria, and a Jewish American doctor called Dr. Mark Perlmutter. All of them came back at separate times, said children were brought into hospitals we were in with gunshot to the head, sniper shots. Perfect. Exact targets. There is no tunnel that justifies shooting toddlers in the head. Israeli snipers.
Does this guy not know how sniping jobs work? Like, the problem with sniping isn't, like, the accuracy is not because obviously you got your scope and the fucking, like, yeah, it's quite easy. You can accurately snipe, but targets and personnel move really, really fast when you're sniping. Like, snipers make their decisions in less than a split second in combat situations. Unless he's suggesting there were just a couple of kids sitting on the hill and a guy opposite in a building just went, got him, take him out. Maybe someone committed a war crime. But I don't think that's Israeli policy, is to snipe kids for no reason. To snipe toddlers. But okay.
Okay, so the rebuttal there is that apparently this is just happening by accident. Israeli snipers are accidentally shooting hundreds of kids in the head because they are mistaking them for fighters or something. And apparently this guy is a sniper expert, and that's how he knows this is happening. It really is that simple.
Does this guy not know how sniping jobs work?
Now, refuting this on a factual basis seems redundant and stupid to even do, because it's clear that he's just making this up in the moment. It's not really a serious argument or anything. He's just desperate to defend anything that Israel does, and that's just what happened to come to his mind in that moment. Nonetheless, it can be refuted on a factual basis. You aim for the head in an assassination when you are sure that you have the shot, and your aim is not to disable the target as a threat, but rather to ensure a kill. In a combat situation, if these were militants who pose a threat, the aim first and foremost is to disable them as a threat, rather than to kill them. and the head is a much smaller target than the body, so it is far safer to aim for the body. So there being so many headshots makes it very, very clear that these are deliberate targeted killings of children. You do not accidentally precisely aim at the head of a child and pull the trigger hundreds of times. Not that it would stop being a war crime if they were killing hundreds of preteen children with body shots by any means. And it would also be quite obvious anyway, looking through a sniper scope, that you are looking at a child and not a militant. To precisely aim for the head, line up a shot, take the shot, and hit it, not just once, but hundreds of times, indicates a level of intent that can only reasonably be described as systematic. But what is Israel's lawyer's argument for why he thinks that despite that overwhelming evidence, it's actually not so obvious? Well,
but I don't think that's Israeli policy, is to snipe kids for no reason. To snipe toddlers. But okay.
You heard right.
There is
just
a reason.
that he thinks Israel wouldn't
Called
do
genocide.
it. That's all. That's all he needs. They wouldn't do it. I don't believe they would do it. Evidence be damned. They are not doing it. I said so. Case closed. There's a clear implication there, which should be obvious to anyone who is familiar with the rhetoric of pro-Israel propagandists. That also implying that they would do that intentionally is anti-Semitic. And this sort of claim is very oft-repeated. For example, in this tweet by another pro-Israel propagandist who was very adamant that Israel would simply never kill a child intentionally. It's impossible. They've just committed tens of thousands of unfortunate accidents, systematically, in a clear pattern over the course of a year. Or this abhorrent Guardian article where another pro-Israel propagandist explicitly argues that the media citing factual information about Israel murdering children is a form of anti-Semitic blood libel. Now, Israel's lawyer isn't quite as explicit as that guy was, but the implication is there. He knows what he's doing. The others who do the same thing know what they're doing. The best argument that they have is that in spite of all the evidence that makes it clear as day that they are in fact doing this, they wouldn't do it. After all, they're Jewish. Jewish people can't commit atrocities like everyone else. How dare you imply otherwise? Aside from massacring children, women, men, the elderly, babies, pretty much anyone they can get their hands on, Israel has also been making their defenders' jobs quite a bit harder by just plain making shit up all the time. Whether it's elaborate, obviously fake 3D renderings of Hamas command centers under a hospital, which they then use to justify multiple massacres committed at that hospital, or making ludicrous claims like Palestinians massacring 40 babies, the job of the self-appointed lawyers of Israel becomes harder with every single claim made. Let's refer back to that one again to see how he dealt with the 40 beheaded babies claim.
Again, this is why it's like the 40 beheaded babies. That hoax was not an Israeli, I think there's a better way to put it. The 40 beheaded babies was not actually an Israeli government hoax. It wasn't. It was a misspeak from a journalist that was spread around the world by a few fucking nutters, and then the people who really made it last were people who were anti-Israel. They were the ones who spread that. They're the ones who have kept that alive.
So his strategy here is not to blame that propaganda on the Israelis who made it up and spread it, but rather to blame the people who are against Israel's genocide for calling them out on it and not allowing them to forget it. The first part of this strategy here is not a very advanced one. It's known as lying. He lies about this idea that this was just an error made by one reporter, which was not spread by the Israeli state or other Israeli propagandists, nor anyone of any significance. It was merely mostly picked up on by opponents of Israel, solely by them, which is apparently a bad thing for them to do because, I don't know, apparently it's wrong to point out that Israel is inventing abhorrent, obviously fake, genocide-justifying propaganda over and over again because who knows why? He doesn't explain it. Here's the thing, though. This was spread by the State of Israel. It was spread by Eilon Levy, their official spokesman at the time. It was spread all over official Israeli social media. It was spread by Netanyahu's personal spokesperson.
When you listed the unconscionable atrocities that took place in that kibbutz, you did say that babies had been decapitated. Can I take that as confirmation then? Because that currently is being reported as reported action. That has actually happened as it
Toddlers, babies. I can tell you that they, some of them, heads were cut off. This is what we're hearing from from soldiers on the ground, and yes, they cut off heads. They cut off heads.
Which was then seen by US President Joe Biden, who then repeated the claim uncritically in a press conference.
I've been doing this a long time. I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. I never thought I'd ever. Anyway.
Biden, the most powerful politician in the world, the leader of the state that is Israel's prime backer and accomplice, continued to repeat that claim for months afterwards. So apparently this claim was just made by one reporter and, you know, just sort of was a fart in the wind, according to this guy, when in actual reality, it was spread precisely by the Israeli state itself and their key ally, enabler, and supporter, the President of the United States of America. So the strategy of Israel's lawyer here was firstly just to lie, and then also to build on top of that lie by doing some impossibly stupid mental gymnastics to somehow spin Goebbels tier propaganda, specifically spread by Israel to justify its genocide, on the people who are against the genocide. And I gotta say, it doesn't work at all. It is just kind of self-evidently ludicrous how these people are twisting themselves into knots to justify the unjustifiable. To willingly not just embarrass yourself in public like this, but to do it for the purposes of justifying genocide. I don't think there is an adjective that is strong enough to describe that level of both idiocy and depravity. The Israelis, their supporters, and their American allies spread an obvious lie about fake dead Israeli babies to justify their massacre of thousands of very real Palestinian babies. And we have people like this not talking about those actually real massacred Palestinian babies, but rather how Israeli propaganda about fake massacred Israeli babies is actually to blame on those who are against Israel's genocide. The pure dismissiveness that this guy displays when it comes to Palestinians being massacred, children, babies being killed, it's just inhuman. But if you thought that was bad, how about we move on to one of Lonerbox's best friends and frequent collaborators, the streamer Destiny. Topically, he had some comments to make about the self-evidently absurd 40 beheaded babies propaganda, in which he just uncritically accepted Israeli propaganda entirely at its word.
The beheaded baby one, it was mostly factually correct, right? There were 40 dead babies. At least one was decapitated. They weren't all 40 decapitated, right? But so it's mostly correct, not 40 beheaded babies, just 40 dead babies with a few of their heads cut off, right?
So much for it only being hung on to by those dastardly anti-genocide people, huh?
It was a misspeak from a journalist that was spread around the world by a few fucking nutters.
Now let's compare the standard of evidence that Destiny has for accepting ridiculous claims made by Israelis with the standard of evidence that he applies to literal video evidence of Palestinians being executed right before his eyes by the Israeli military. Now, I can't show the context for the clip that he is reacting to here for fear of potentially getting this video taken down by YouTube for showing someone literally dying, but I will describe it to you and there will be a link in the description. A reporter for the British news outlet ITV approaches a group of people in an Israeli-declared safe zone for civilians. These people are holding a white flag and waving it in order to make it clear to any Israeli troops that they are civilians. The reporter interviews a few of them. They explain that they are evacuating because, as is clear from the billowing smoke and gunshots which can be heard in the background, the supposed safe zone is no longer safe. Having interviewed the men, the interviewer turns around and leaves. Suddenly, Israeli troops begin firing on this group, and they hit one of them, killing him instantly. He is pulled aside behind cover by his companions, where they are joined by other civilians who are also evacuating. Amidst their screams and cries as they realize that he is dead, the Israeli soldiers begin to fire on them again. To reiterate, again, this was a group of civilians, including children, who were waving white flags. They had done everything that Israel had told them to do. They were in an Israeli-declared safe area, and they were in the process of evacuating to a different safe area. So what did Destiny think about this? Well,
the interview complete, our cameraman walked away.
So like why? So he is interviewing the guy who's about to go do some shit to get himself killed, basically. That's what's gonna happen. We know from this point, that's what's gonna happen. So he walks away, gets back a little bit, and then he sets up behind this thing, right? Is this concealment, I guess? Not cover, concealment, right? Because I think the tank's over here. So now he can capture the footage right here. He sees the guys walking, knowing that they're about to get shot, because that's what's gonna happen. And then eventually they get shot and everything is, this is it. It's like act 1, 2, and 3. It's like all here. Now this guy is down. He's dead. These guys are like...
fatally wounded.
They're
Dude,
not even
someone
like
died. What are you
they're not
talking
even running.
about?
They're not even like cowering and running away and screaming in fear. They're just like, okay, well they did it. We got our shot. Okay, is this guy done? Oh
They're
shit.
putting
Oh,
on a
okay.
show by
Well, we brought the white
letting
flag, so we can put that over
himself
the
die.
bleeding part. Assuming he got shot in it actually, right?
Flag.
And then this guy, what is this guy running back to grab the wife?
By this stage, the man's wife, his widow, has heard what happened.
And like, what does this mean? The wife has heard what happened. Like, bro, this is crazy. I'm sorry. The tracking live movement shot of the lady running up to her dead husband? Like, what is this?
By this stage, the man's wife, his widow, has heard what happened.
Somebody went back and told her, right? The 5 martyrs that walked forward, you know, your husband was the unlucky guy. He threw the short stick today, so come forward, cry for us on camera. Do you think the guy intentionally wanted to get killed? No, I don't think he wanted to die. I don't think they were thinking they were going to die, but they probably were hoping to get shot at, or maybe, so you're saying the woman was acting? I don't think the woman was acting. She probably was sincerely sad. Her husband got fucking killed. But I think they were farming TikTok clips. I mean, remember, these people actually, yeah, like, have suicide bombers. So it's not that big of a stretch to imagine that they would be willing to get shot. However, now, I haven't gone down this road because this is way more, it would require me to make a lot more assumptions, but it's also possible he didn't get shot, right? Now, do we know the name of the guy? Is he actually dead? Do we even know if this is his wife? These are a whole bunch of questions that would be valid. Now, if I was way more on the pro-Zionist side, I would be asking those questions. Who is this guy? Do we even know if he's actually fucking dead? Like, we don't actually see the wound, right? It seems like they don't have any problem showing anything else. Like, why just the white flag so that it can look all bloody? Like, show us the actual gunshot. You have no problem showing other violence, right? What Pallywood means is that you're capturing intentional video footage to sell a certain narrative about what's going on, basically.
Dude,
so Pallywood might be, well, this,
an absolute
right?
psychopath.
So the idea is that like 4 innocent civilians are like walking up, and you just want like a clip here of the idea of
Like
shooting them for no
sociopath.
reason because they're civilians with white flags, and you kind of ignore the fact that like, okay, well, they're in a battle zone in an area they were told to evacuate from, and they're going back to try to release somebody that was captured. Like, that's like Pallywood, man. You're essentially provoking the enemy to take what is largely a justified action and then trying to say that it's like indiscriminate civilian killing. It's like a setup. It's not fake, but they're doing it to themselves. Well, you're dehumanizing yourself. You're suiciding and sacrificing your civilian population.
Did you get that? Did you digest what was just said there? Taking it in? The Palestinian civilians were asking for it. By trying to make a crossing in an officially Israeli declared safe zone for civilians, no less, they are responsible for their own murder. It's their fault for walking around with a white flag while being so Palestinian in the vision of an Israeli soldier. Much like Lonabox, his very first instinct when he is confronted with overwhelming evidence of the state which he unconditionally supports committing war crimes. When said evidence renders outright denial impossible, the first thing that comes to mind for him is to blame the victims for their own deaths. He literally, unironically, makes the argument that Palestinians are essentially like baiting Israeli soldiers by walking provocatively with a white flag into killing them so that they can film it to do what he calls farming TikTok clips. This is the level of depravity, of desperation that the genocide propagandists are at. Israel's actions are so obvious, so clear, so well evidenced, so indefensible that there are frequently times like these where the best defense they can muster is, well, what did you expect, man? It's not like you can expect an Israeli soldier to resist an opportunity to just murder a Palestinian civilian. You were kind of asking for it there. And they aren't even cognitive of what they're saying is a denouncement of themselves, of Israel, of everything they're trying to defend. The Goebbels level Israeli genocide propaganda that they are utilizing to attempt to justify their genocide, that's the fault of Palestinians and their supporters for even talking about it.
People who were anti-Israel, they were the ones who spread that.
Palestinian civilians being murdered by Israel on video in broad daylight while waving white flags in an Israeli declared safe zone, that's their fault too.
I think they were farming TikTok clips.
Now, genocide justification usually has levels to it. It has like a checklist. First, it's blatant lies, attempting to sow doubt about the facts. You know, we can't really know what's going on, right? There's the fog of war. It's very unclear, though in this case, it's very much not unclear. The evidence is totally overwhelming. You see it on your social media feed every single day. They nonetheless have to act like the evidence is not clear, have to muddy the waters because it's the best that they can manage. To begin with, it's either that or just outright denying that it happened. The evidence is fake. It's Hollywood, as our friend Destiny so graciously called it. It's a Hamas conspiracy to delegitimize Israel, stuff like that. Then once that argument inevitably falls over, they move on to what Lonabox tried in that first clip. Okay, so it did happen, but there is an accident or there is some other explanation for it. Then when that doesn't work out, they move on to claiming, okay, so it wasn't an accident, and maybe there isn't a good explanation for it, but that's not representative of the conduct of the Israeli military overall. Please ignore the endless evidence that it is. It's got nothing to do with the Israeli government or systematic Israeli policy. It's just one or two guys doing some bad stuff, you know? Then when none of that works, when they are backed into a corner by the endless evidence that makes it abundantly clear that this is very much intentional policy, they move on to one of two things. Acknowledging that it's happening, but implying that somehow the victims made it happen, or the tried and tested strategy of, so are you implying that Israel would intentionally do the thing that there is clear evidence that is intentionally doing? What are you, anti-Semitic? Now I'm going to bring up a clip of Israel's lawyer desperately trying to defend Israel from the charges, incredibly well evidenced, that it is systematically using Gazan civilians as human shields. This is something that has been evidenced by dozens of testimonies of the victims, by clear photo and video evidence of it occurring, and by Israeli soldiers themselves who have come forward to say that the practice is happening. Think about the checklist that I went over and see which tactic you can see being used here.
I'm guessing you already know that they're using like Gazan civilians to scope out tunnels and buildings, right?
Yeah, I know that, yeah. Or at least the Haaretz article said that, so yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a top-down thing. So it is policy. It's not just the accountability thing. Right.
Is that like is that actually their military policy though? Because I thought one of the problems there was the soldiers eventually were refusing to do it because of the unlawful order.
No, there were some that didn't want to do it, but it was still like the commander issuing the orders, and it's a pretty open secret in the IDF, and it hasn't been done before in other wars.
Yeah, so you're saying a commander did it, but a commander obviously is not particularly high up in the chain of command. Like, is it the case that is it still the case that it's their IDF policy? Like, it's the policy of like the chief of staff, though, or is it like commanders are doing it, but people are turning a blind eye? Because that's like my argument. My argument is that people are getting away with committing crimes because there's not going to be accountability, but it still doesn't negate the fact that their training even tells them not to do that. Their training tells them if you get an unlawful order, you're supposed to disobey.
So he's making the bad apples argument here, except not for individual soldiers, but for commanders. You know, the fact that there are individual soldiers who are refusing this order and going to the media to complain about it indicates that it is in fact systemic, that it is in fact policy, because it is coming from the commanders, and it is only a few individual soldiers who have denounced it. That is the exact opposite of a few bad apples. But he nonetheless tries to make that argument because nothing else occurs to him. I'm eagerly awaiting the sequel to this argument. It's just a few bad prime ministers. Like, half of his arguments are these clearly systemic practices that have been repeated time and time again in a clear pattern of conduct that is simply undeniable, are somehow not indicative of Israeli policy, of Israel's goals in this so-called war, of why they're there in the first place, and why they are doing what they are doing. While we're on that note, let's go over one final clip. It is his reaction to Mehdi Hassan going over a laundry list of Israel's genocidal crimes that they have committed in the last year.
I don't understand how we're debating this more than 40,000 deaths later. I don't understand how we're still debating this sitting in the comfort of New York, 7,000 miles away from a place that the UN Secretary General has called hell on earth. Justified? Justified? Was Israel justified in carrying out one of the most intense civilian punishment campaigns in history, according to Dr. Robert Pape at the University of Chicago, dropping 500-pound bombs, 1,000-pound bombs, 2,000-pound bombs on schools, hospitals, universities, bookstores, libraries, mosques, churches, refugee camps, apartment buildings, cemeteries. destroying a higher percentage of buildings in northern Gaza than the Allies destroyed in Dresden during World War II, reducing Gaza to 42 million tons of rubble while they got people out of the way? How is that justified? Dropping a bomb, for example, on a 6-story apartment building in central Gaza last October, killing more than 100 people inside, including more than 50 children, with no Hamas target in sight, according to Human Rights Watch, with no explanation offered by the Israeli military. Even till today, was that justified, Elon? Was Israel justified in telling people to go to safe zones and then bombing them and killing them in those safe zones? According to NBC, there were 7 deadly airstrikes between January and April in areas that the Israeli military had specifically designated as safe zones, killing Palestinian civilians like Sabrine Sakani, who was 30 weeks pregnant at the time. She was killed in a safe zone in April. Her little baby, newborn baby, died less than a week later. Was that justified too, Elon? Was Israel justified in killing a record number of kids in Gaza, 16,000 children, turning Gaza into what the UN has called a graveyard for children, according to Save the Children, killing more kids in the first 3 weeks that were killed globally in each of the past 4 years, killing little kids like 6-year-old Hind Rajab and her 15-year-old sister Leanne, firing 335 bullets into the car they were in. 335 bullets, and then killing the 2 paramedics who went to try and rescue them. Was that justified too, Elon? Was Israel justified in killing a record number of aid workers in Gaza? Right? A record number. Targeting again and again, systematically, car by car, according to Chef Jose Andreas. A specifically, explicitly marked World Central Kitchen aid convoy killing 7 aid workers in the process. Was that justified? Was Israel justified in starving the people of Gaza, using food and water as a weapon of war, to quote both the EU and Oxfam? Was Israel justified in blocking aid trucks from going into Gaza simply because they carry things like crutches, nail clippers, and even chocolate croissants, according to the Washington Post? Was Israel justified in raping, sodomizing Palestinian detainees who are charged with no crimes whatsoever? Putting hot rods up their rectums, amputating their limbs, according to CNN and the New York Times. Was that rape and torture justified, Elon? Israel, according to the ICC chief prosecutor, who put out a statement calling for the arrest of Elon's former boss, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that Israel may have military goals, legitimate goals, but the way they're carried out, killing innocent people, starving people, is criminal, he said. Criminal, think about that. Elon Levy is a former spokesperson for a man who the ICC chief prosecutor wants arrested for war crimes. Elon himself has produced a number of lies, sorry John, in service of those war crimes. He has a bunch of tweets still up tonight which say that babies were beheaded on October the 7th, babies were baked in ovens, babies were ripped from their mother's wombs. October 7th was bad enough, but Elon had to exaggerate it for atrocity purposes. Those tweets are still up. Why would you trust anything this man says to you tonight? Look, he's here to gaslight you, to defend the indefensible, to excuse the inexcusable, to justify the unjustifiable, but you don't need to. Tonight you can choose to be on the side not of cruelty, not of criminality, but on the side of the innocent people of Gaza who are being killed as we speak tonight, as we speak, by Elon's former colleagues in the Israeli military on the orders of Elon's former bosses in the Israeli government. So yes, I choose to oppose this horrific and homicidal motion.
I think the problem is that if you want to get, I'm trying to think of like how you would illustrate what's wrong with what Mehdi's saying, is let's assume assume that every case that Mehdi put forward was true, when he talks about particular incidents like the WCK bombing or the person who was the child who was shot while they were in a car, or like all this kind of stuff. So if they're talking about that, then it's kind of like saying that doesn't really, you could just argue none of that actually says whether or not the broad military campaign is justified or not. You understand that, right?
So apparently the fact that Israel is clearly systematically committing war crimes, crimes against humanity, pretty much every international crime that you could ever think of on a mass scale, patterns that make it clear that they are there in order to do what they are literally doing. We, however, cannot judge their so-called military campaign by what they are doing. The fact that they are doing these things says nothing about whether them doing those things is actually justified or not. Apparently, in order to deduce why Israel is doing what it is doing in Gaza, we can't look at what it's doing in Gaza. You know, like destroying 60% of all buildings in the territory, many of them through literal controlled demolitions, schools, mosques, churches, museums, all destroyed intentionally, massacring endless scores of civilians with numbers that are simply impossible to achieve unless it is being done intentionally. We apparently can't look at that and say, yeah, they're there because they want to kill the civilians. That's why they're killing them. They're there because they want to expel the civilians. That's why they are expelling them. They're destroying every single building there because they want to destroy it, because they want to destroy Gaza. No, 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 you can't do that. Why? He just sort of decided you can't. That really is all there is to it. That's his argument. And that is aside from, you know, all of the undeniable statements, plans, etc., coming from the Israeli state that make it very clear this is what they want to do from the very beginning, and it's what they have been doing, and that they are going to continue to be doing it, like their leaked plans to do exactly what they are doing, which filtered out already in October 2023. People at the highest levels of government outright saying that that is what they are doing. They openly discussed plans to build concentration camps in Gaza, which the survivors will be hoarded into for threat of death if they try to leave. The Israeli military just openly declaring today, as I film this video, that they have no intention to allow the residents of the northern Gaza Strip to return to their homes, and that anyone in the entire northern half of Gaza is not a civilian who they can just freely kill. Ignore all of that, right? Or try to frame it as if it's not indicative of broad Israeli policy, you know, just a few fringe crazies like, you know, the prime minister of the country, the defense minister, the top brass of the IDF, you know. Who are those people, right? That's just a couple of bad apples. It's incoherent. It's incredibly stupid. They make themselves look like massive dumbasses and horrid people, all because they have committed themselves to defending the clearly indefensible. Monobox has a particular disdain for Mehdi Hassan, by the way. You can see that in this clip.
I will happily support this pin because I support the release of all the hostages and I support the release of thousands of Palestinian detainees being raped and tortured and children. Do you support that? Let's wear it together. Do you support the young? Do you support the release of Palestinians? I do not support, the release of Palestinian children. Do you support the release of Palestinian children?
Is he why is he? Oh God, what a fucking creep, man. Again, you can talk about the unlawfulness of the imprisoning, but like the Palestinians who are imprisoned in Israeli centers are not imprisoned like randomly.
Of thousands of Palestinian detainees being raped and tortured and children.
So Mehdi Hassan mentions that Palestinians are being kidnapped from Gaza by the IDF, put into concentration camps in Israel, and then systematically starved, tortured, and mass raped. A practice that we mostly know about because many of the torture and rape victims were released without any charge, showing that even Israel thinks that they were innocent of whatever it is that Israel initially accused them of. Lonabox's immediate reaction to this is to laugh. He smiles, he laughs, he's like, oh my God, not this bullshit again. And then he goes on to say that the tortured and raped prisoners, including children, as Mehdi Hassan specifically mentioned children, had it coming. They deserved it. Israel wouldn't just torture and rape anyone, right?
The Palestinians who are imprisoned in Israeli centers are not imprisoned like randomly.
You notice how he called Mehdi Hassan a creep for mentioning that?
Do you support the release of Palestinian children?
Is he really? Why is he? Oh God, what a fucking creep, man.
As if his own position is not accurately defined as one that can only come from a creep. The disdain for Hassan is palpable, and the reason for that is pretty simple. Mehdi Hassan drives liberal Zionists like this absolutely mad, because he is essentially what they pretend to be. Hassan has a long history of being a partisan for Western imperialism, of denouncing any resistance against it, including Palestinian resistance to Israel. He never would have been allowed anywhere near the prominent mainstream media positions that he's held throughout his career if that wasn't the case. However, when Hassan sees something so clearly indefensible, so overwhelmingly well evidenced, like Israel's Gaza genocide, he's not hyper committed to defending Israel no matter what, so he's still able to point to Israel's obvious crimes and call a spade. But liberal Zionists like Lonerbox, like Destiny, are hyper committed to defending Israel, no matter what. So when guys like Hassan, who otherwise share their professed liberal ideology, don't mince words about the facts of what Israel is doing, don't act as if they are Israel's lawyer, it exposes them as what they really are, not the humanistic, critical thinking progressives that they like to present themselves as, but rather partisans for a genocidal, ethno-nationalist, settler colonial project whose nature as such was already very difficult for them to argue against or skirt around beforehand, but which is now impossible for them to plausibly deny, as Israel's genocidal actions, broadcast to the world in vivid, horrific detail, have finally made everything so clear that even a liberal like Mehdi Hassan refuses to accept their bullshit anymore. These people are abhorrent, disgusting genocide propagandists. Everyone already knew that about Destiny, but if you've only been exposed to Lonerbox through his main channel content, you might not have known that about him. As I said, his ideology is one called liberal Zionism. It's one that I have spoken about before in a video of mine, which I made more than a year before October 7th and the Gaza genocide. If you would like more information about how people like him use the false idea that they are pro-Palestinian when they are very clearly anti-Palestinian and pro-Israel, to pull in people who are sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, but who don't know quite enough about it to realize that it's all an act and that they are being conned into eventually becoming Zionists themselves and nodding along to the kind of genocide justifying propaganda that we've gone over here, then you should check out that video that I made on the matter, which is very long but nonetheless goes over it in depth and uses Lonerbox specifically as an example of this phenomenon. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent here about liberal Zionism and what it is. I feel like you might have already gotten the gist from this video, but yeah, if you want more of an in-depth look at it, I suggest you check out that video. Point is, don't be duped by these people. They have shown their whole ass. It was already obvious to me, as someone who is very well versed on this topic beforehand, before the Gaza genocide, but now it is absolutely undeniable. You simply cannot watch people like this making those sorts of arguments and seriously argue that they are not simply anti-Palestinianists, interested in doing whatever part they can to spread propaganda and enable an ongoing genocide to continue. We can only hope that a day where these people will be held to account, brought to justice for their clear-as-day genocide propaganda will come. Thanks for watching. Free Palestine. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then subscribe for more. And if you really like my content, consider becoming a monthly supporter on Patreon or Ko-fi, or making a one-time donation on Ko-fi. Now I'd just like to thank all of my supporters, and especially my $25 plus supporters. Gel Cribson, Brosnan, Ace Malad, Robocomi, Exos, Balia, Log, Osman Malik, Tim Wilworth, Lucian, Jackagora, Yamako and Yahabib, CW, Jordy, and my $10 plus patrons. Christian Corniels, Can't Care Less, XXXX, Eric Macdans, Ugopnik, Nabiru, B, Johnny Rocket, Firefox 42, Happy Nephron, Minijan, Eric Perkins, Ant, Max Hallen, Jack Paul, Kieran Goodwin, Megan Lowndes, Soyborn, Comrade Napule, Clement Fadge, Hector Obregon, Asma B, Support Libraries, Jizdog, Cockled Badger, T Street, Aramis Goodspiel, Liam Rowe, Abza Rossi, Mofawak Alamin, Waldemar Dite, Mira, Atawin, and Herculano. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.
Hello.
Hello,
Hey
hello.
there. Hello, hello.
What's happening?
What's up?
How are you?
All right. Pretty good. How are
That's
you?
cool. You chill day or what?
Yeah, for
Stay
the
out
most
of the
part.
rain?
I had no.
Okay.
Yeah, I avoided the rain.
That's good.
Yeah, I did. I had an eye doctor appointment today, so this is like the week of like, doctor stuff, I guess.
Ooh.
But just a checkup. Now I got good news for gamers.
What?
Check this out. So like, they run you through the battery of tests. They check your whatever, eye pressure, cornea, whatever. And one of the tests is, so you're looking at the center star, and they're flashing little winks of light occasionally, and you have to click anytime you see the light. And it can be pretty dim and obviously not centered. It could be way off in the peripheral, the whole point of the test. And my first eye, I had a feeling like I was doing okay, but I felt like I was getting warmed up for like the next eye or whatever. By the time I got to do my left eye, I felt like I was in a video game. And I felt like I was smashing it. I just had this feeling like I was getting it really, done. The guy who was testing me didn't say anything, but then
you're
I saw
feeling
the
it?
eye doctor. Yeah, I was feeling it, and I didn't say anything either, but because I would have felt ridiculous, but the eye doctor comes in, he's looking at the charts, he's all right, let's compare last year's peripheral vision to this year, and he looks at it and he goes, wow, that's really competitive.
Seriously?
I was like, and I didn't say it, but I was like, that's Call of Duty, baby, right there. Call of Duty has trained my peripheral vision to be on spot.
Awesome. Hell yeah, dude.
I swear to God.
Especially with flashing
Hilarious.
lights. It's like sniper.
Yeah. Just like, what do I have to? I just saw something. You're always looking, even though your eye might be focused one way. Anyway, all right.
That's awesome, man.
Hey, so I know, So I know you said you wanted to maybe do what do you call
strongholds.
One of those strongholds. Yeah. Now, one of the other options though is that this guy, one of your guys that you've sent me before, something S-A, something Gamesa or something. I don't know what the fuck.
Oh, was it the guy with the glasses?
Yeah. I think he had a beard.
Yeah.
Anyway, this yeah. Well, he was talking about how to get keys or whatever, or so if you want to, we could go for a contract. And when you look at the map, you can find an HVT contract. It looks like a phone with a crosshairs on it.
Okay.
And then if you go there to that zone that it'll guide you to, that's where you'll find, he's not exactly a boss, but he's a high level target, and he will drop a good weapon usually and possibly some keys. I don't know if we could do that, or we could try a stronghold, but either way you're going to run into like heavily armored posse. So a stronghold I think would be a little more difficult than doing that thing, but I can't guarantee we're going to get a key either way. So whatever you feel like doing.
Mike, can you through missions expand your key limit?
Yeah.
Well, there is. I should get on those because I'm pretty full right now. Like I feel like I should take some, but it's kind of like I got underground key. Also, I had shopping center key, munitions key, and some of them have coordinates on it. I got a building 21 key. Anyway,
yeah.
But let's
I mean, bring in a key. I don't care. Whatever.
Still know.
Let me look at my keys too.
I've got 2 of these. I'm gonna destroy these or something. No. Option.
You can just bring them in, and then when you die, you'll lose them.
Yeah, I am. That's...
But you're never gonna die. That'll never happen. Or just get rid of a duplicate key, or
So I don't know,
yeah,
like...
all my keys are like for little things. Oh, wait, I got a control tower key. How about that?
Yep.
How about that shit?
There you go.
Because that's where Pyro sometimes shows up.
Yeah, control tower.
All right, bringing it in.
All right, cool, sweet.
Yeah, I didn't know I had that. All right. Yeah, if you expand your stash expansion by gathering up whatever crap you need, then you'll get expanded key options.
All right. Okay. Maybe yeah, I'm done with the camo ground. Start making DMZ until the next season. And grind that out. All right. But let's
All right.
I got that's in Vondel. I got Vondel keys. Block repair tools key. F7. I'm gonna bring in a munitions box. And I've got about $6,000. Bring in a couple of thousand. All right. Ready to rock. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah. How about you? Did you manage to escape the rain for the most part, or did you get caught in a massive downpour?
I was like skipping like through raindrops, not getting hit at all. Beautiful. No, no, it started raining before when I was at work before I left, but I swear, like right when I left, it stopped. Like,
ooh, nice.
I didn't get any. It was great.
Love when that happens.
Fantastic. Yeah, I went down to the gym this morning again. Did a little running. I've got some work to do. I'm trying. I probably already told you I got this app to run, like it's like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds on, like running and walking, and like I could.
Oh yeah, okay.
I can only do. I think I did like a good part, but I don't think I made it more than halfway. Then I just like paused it out and just like walked the rest of the time.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna kind of build up to it.
That's the thing. Yeah, because so many people screw up exercise by overdoing it, and then they hurt themselves, and then they have to like stop exercising, and they're just like fuck. And also, you're sore when you haven't worked out in a while, and then you're sore, and you're like, God damn, this sucks. But yeah, it's like you got it, but you got to keep going, and then you don't get sore, and otherwise you'll get frustrated and or hurt. And yeah, being sore sucks, but it doesn't last forever. You're not going to constantly be sore. It'll just be, for the first couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've got a pretty good strike going. As far as like the running, but I need to get on some weight.
Welcome to Al Mazrah. Exploring, looting, and
all right, I got the control tower key. I also have a little bit of money, so let's see where we're at.
From local forces and watch for other operators in the AO.
Oh, we're way up here.
There's what building is it?
Moving.
There's right by the police academy.
That's not a that's not a thing.
Oh wait, that's a question mark thing.
The post office. Yeah, I mean the post office is here, but we don't have a key. This is an HVT contract right there, so we could try that.
Let's do it.
You know, let's try it. See if this guy give us a key.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
Sorry.
Wait, is there a shop anywhere nearby? We can. Oh, there's a bunch of dudes down here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't know what the hell I just did. Sorry.
What happened?
Hopefully no one. Are we? Do you want to engage, or are we passing these guys? They didn't see me.
I'm passing.
All right,
I passed them
let's
up.
go. Let's go.
I don't see a shop nearby. Do you?
No.
Nah, we're kind of fucked that way.
Oh well,
but
I've got a 3-plate vest. I didn't even notice.
I got a 2-plater, so I'm okay there.
Yeah, we can use more plates.
Yeah, plates would be good. Maybe we should loot a little bit before we go in.
There is like no shop at all.
Not right close to us.
Shit. There is an armory over here.
Ammo depot.
Because we are so close to that,
Let's go to the ammo depot.
contract.
We're gonna have a loot and shoot
Okay.
there.
Oh, the shit.
Everything.
I'm going upstairs. There's some stuff up here. There's some plates. I'll leave a couple. I got the lockers.
Are you upstairs? Where were those plates at?
Yeah, I'm upstairs. Yeah.
Got some loot here.
I'm marking it. If you see any screwdrivers or wrenches, can you let me know?
Over here.
Got a valuable here.
What? You found a wrench? Oh, screwdriver. Nice. Oh, sweet. Should I open it? There's a medium plate. There's a medium vest in this locker over here.
What are the broken glasses? Oh,
What's up?
I got glasses. Broken glasses. Special.
Yeah. Yeah. This last locker right here is a medium vest.
Oh wait, no, I've got 3-plate already.
Oh. No, it's a medium backpack.
Oh, medium backpack.
Last locker. Yeah, that one.
Oh, there's some. Sorry. Great. Some badass.
All right.
Sub, yeah. Thank you.
So I got 6 plates plus the 2 I got. That's pretty good.
I've only got 2.
Okay. Let's loot a little more. I'll let you see if you can find anything.
We can find some stragglers. Assassinate them, take their plates. Enemies usually drop a lot of plates.
Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
Alright, well, screw it. Wait, how many plates did you say you had?
Yeah, let me just drop a couple. Yeah,
if
I
you
didn't
want to
even think of that.
Let's try like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Awesome, sweet.
Yeah, here we go. Here, there's another one.
I got 4. How many does that leave you
All right,
with? And I've got the extra in my ship.
Sorry, I got 4. All right, I lost. Oh, the contract's still marked.
Okay, cool. Let's.
All right, it's right there. And any enemies? Good. Jump in here. You want to jump in here for a second? Look around.
Sure.
Or if anything in here.
Paste.
Office bullshit.
I hear a chest.
There's an There's an AFAC here. I think you might need that because that was one of the missions you needed, or not mission. What do you call it? The expansions, I guess.
Oh, okay. Oh, go over there.
Okay.
Okay.
Door to the fucking thing is locked.
Wait, is this? Wait, is it outside?
Ooh, what's that? A gold bar? Oh man, gold bar sitting right here.
It's in this next. Do the honor. Or should I fire it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
Okay, it'll mark it in green on the map in a circle.
See it.
See it?
How far is that?
Not far.
Right, okay.
I'm gonna put on some anti-armor rounds. There's a bunch of guys. See
Oh
them?
yeah, I see him.
Right. Want to start sniping them, or?
I don't have a sniper. I've got LMG.
Oh, neither do I.
Let's just
Let's
just find some cover if we can. Oh shit!
One HVT is down. Move in and confirm the kill.
Oh, you got him? You got plates?
Yeah, I'm putting them on right now. I gotta run away. Fuck.
Shit. Oh, there's a lot of them. Oh god, alright. Oh shit.
Not a lot of cover out here.
Alright.
Fuck.
Alright.
Where are these fucking guys?
Is there any way up this building? Oh, here, rope. We're gonna shoot him from on top. Where's this asshole?
It says confirm that the target is dead. I think you shot him already.
Okay. Parachute him down.
Yeah, me too. There's a guy down there.
Yeah, I see him. Let's see if I can sneak up on him.
ID confirmed on job.
Assassinate.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Any of
that's
those
it.
dudes dropping carried any good loot?
I mean, I got a couple plates. There's some guns
here.
laying around here, but
Yeah, I'm staying with. There's some cash. We haven't looted this building.
Nothing.
Much. And it was 3,000. We probably got 3,000 in our. We both got 55.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You do get money.
Yeah.
For the contract.
Whoa.
Jesus, scared the shit out of me.
Shit, dude, I'm sorry.
It's like enemy. Fuck, what's that?
They're just hanging out?
Just that one guy, I think. Well, if you want to go to a stronghold or exfil with the money, whatever you feel like you want to do.
Where's the closest exfil? Here?
Extract point marked. Yeah. Yeah.
And either that. How much time we got?
How much time? We got 15 minutes.
Your call. Exfil or another contract. Your call.
I didn't mean to mark anything.
Oh, enemy.
Is there another HVT?
Oh shit! Another enemy! And I'm not getting enemies on me. What was this?
I'm coming outside.
Shit! They're downstairs. Shit, I gotta play it up. Sorry. Alright.
say we just exfil. I don't think we got that much time.
Pyro's nearby. Where is he?
Are you shitting me? Oh my god.
Where is he?
Alright, let's go to Pyro. We gotta go to Pyro. I just marked it.
Let's do it.
If you want it.
Of course.
This is it.
Alright.
Run of Destiny. How do we get over here?
We gotta get... How do we get up there?
Where?
What building?
Menus.
How are you on plates?
I just the ones in my thing. They.
Oh.
Let's murder all these dudes. Maybe Pyro will come out.
Ultra One, activity has increased in the area. Keep your eyes open.
Got a couple plates. Oh, well, I got one plate. God damn it! All right, back here behind you. This is Embassy, isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't have a key.
I don't think so. Alright, dead.
Maybe one of these... Any of these guys gonna drop one, maybe?
That'd be cool. Yeah, let's, Great.
Push your bloody fire!
Let's come inside.
Well,
I'm gonna drop a box.
I need mid-cal rounds. Dropping ammo here.
I'm okay. I also have the anti-armor rounds, which I don't want to lose if I pick anything up. Fuck. Well, it's been fruitless in the past, but we could try to parachute onto that thing and go back to the roof and see if anything happens.
Let's try it.
Or
unless
right,
if we got time. If we got time. We're still about 400 meters
yeah,
out.
let's give it a shot. All we gotta do is kill them, and even if we don't exfil, we still kill them.
Cool.
Shot since we don't got a key.
Are we landing on the roof or on the ledge?
On this balcony or ledge or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, taking shots. Oh, from way down there. Shit. Yeah.
I got that guy who was on the dish. He's dead. Okay. He's dead. There's another one. He's dead.
Shit. Oh shit, I just fell off this
awesome.
fucking thing. God damn it. Just stay up there.
Okay.
Be safe. I'm gonna go jump back.
Alright, I'll try.
Please be. Sorry.
I hear pyro.
Yeah. Just in.
Come on. Ooh, there's a guy in there. Killed somebody inside.
Yeah. Incoming.
Yeah, I killed a guy inside. It wasn't pyro, but ooh, come on back. Another guy, come on. Who's coming at you?
Do you want to try to keep on? I'll try to get the guys surrounding us if you want to. Try to.
All right.
Still try to get pyro.
Yeah, I see pyro.
See him?
Well, I thought I did. He was a guy in yellow who looked like he might be here, but.
Shit.
Fuck. Who's shooting? Hey, that's
I'm looking. What the heck? Are they? What's that? None of those shots are hitting me.
Coming.
Oh, god damn it. That went fire. Over there, got him. Got him. Sack of balls, man.
Nice.
Sack of
Fuck, dude. Where's this guy? Come on.
About to run out of
There's just
ammo
another
anyway.
guy inside.
I still had. Actually, I've got a little bit of Lockman sub. Shit.
Activity in the area.
If you can mark anybody, mark them, and then I'll try to get them. All right. Oh shit! I don't got a shit ton of ammo left either, do I?
Run dry.
Come on, Pyro. I got 35 shotgun rounds.
I hear him. Do it.
Taking effective fire.
Oh, guys, up on the hill.
Got him. Oh, there's one more. Oh, there's a couple. There's a couple. I've got 65 rounds left on my LMG. These guys are armored up.
Yeah, fuck, I'm out of ammo except for the shotgun.
Alright. We're gonna have to push these guys and get this shit. Alright.
Yeah. Grab a gun, I guess.
Just grab any ammo. Oh shit, take shots. Yeah, I can pick up a little ammo. Guys on the roof. Oh, we got guys to our left too. Shit. This guy.
I need me.
Alright, guys dropped. There's some more down the street. Alright, I'm on LNG. I'm got my Lockman. I'm pushing. Okay. Let's try to get to the exfil.
Alright.
2 plays left.
And Pyro. At least I shot a couple guys inside for a change.
Yeah.
That happened.
And we just gotta, we should like... Didn't have to main this game. Are you doing the camo grind or what?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Because like,
I mean, I've been, I play it, and so I'm always working towards it. So yeah.
Because like I can get my challenges done in my own time. I'm done with the camo. You want to like just do DMZ until I don't know.
I mean, if you could just do a half-hour night anyway, I'm okay with that because I could always do my other shit later. It's not a big deal. So I would be
I
down
can jump
with
in
that.
for that's fine. That's not bad.
I mean, as long as you are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Ultra One, you've got hostile reinforcements incoming.
All right. Yeah. All right, we'll do this. Get out of here. Fuck out of here.
Let's go.
Ultra One, extraction is inbound at this time.
Oh shit. Okay. It's too easy.
All Ultra, Dino 4's inbound for extraction. Be with you soon.
Ammo. You alright? You alright?
Oh fuck. I'm
coming to you, coming to you. Ammo, okay.
Except for my shotgun.
These guys are freaking dead as hell. Taking shots from somewhere. Oh, right here. You're dead too. I'm just picking up ammo. I love this. Thank you.
Ultra One, Dino 4.
These guys do not have ammo.
Secure.
They are just getting poured up.
Right.
I picked up some kids. Oh, here's our boy.
Alright.
Ultra One, Dino 4. We're standing by. Get to the extraction point now.
We grab some extra cash, man. Alright, I got back.
Dino 4 is RGB.
Alright, I'm in the front.
Nice. Good
Guy
run.
coming. All right.
Very nice run. Yeah, dude, we can do this. Yeah, let's jump in here 7:30 to 8. We'll do a DMZ run. I'll try to get my challenges done. What my plan will do, since I'm done with the camel grind, I'll do my dailies. You know, if there's anything new that I want to play, I'll play that in multiplayer. But if I'm kind of dry on multiplayer, and like I'll try to grab some gear, some keys, see what I can do.
So in there, beef up.
Beef it up. Some cash.
Beef it up.
Beef it. Well, all right. Well, I'll here. Still got you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. Not bad. Yeah, I got that 13 grand in my wallet now.
Yeah.
You didn't buy anything. We just like got stuff. I even got a big backpack. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Price right now is juicy. Juicy. Well, all right, man. Well, shit. Same time tomorrow.
Yep. Sounds good.
Let's do it. All right, man. Have a great night. Talk to you later.
Okay. Yep. I'll talk to you later.